You've reached FITTV. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Soon we will be alright. When we're gonna make it work. Too many people living in a secret world. While they play mothers and fathers, we play little boys and girls. When we're gonna make it work.
Today's program is devoted to summarizing our efforts here at FITTV. It is fitting to elicit the cooperation to those that have helped and are an integral part of FITTV, those who engineer and design the show. My technical director and floor directors, George Gleixner and John Cohan, are on hand here to help me do this. Of course, they had to dispatch cameraman key grip Mike Sahovsky to their work in the meantime so that they can be on the set. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, that's John Cohan on my left, and to his left, George Gleixner. What do you think this FITTV is putting out to the public? What are we really doing out to the public, either one of you?
Well, I think we're doing and giving a good message out there and educating people how the court system, family court system works within today's society. We've had many people on the show that had strong, and almost impossible court cases who are definitely against the system and whose lives have been destroyed. And we've had other people that felt that seeing these people's lives destroyed, we should do something about it. So you've got two sets of people that come on the show. You got people who have been destroyed, people who want to see it fixed. And I think that's a good thing. So it really brings us to content. Now we have content and we can bring to the public. And I think we do it in a very good manner, in a very mature manner.
What do you think, George?
You know, what I see and what I've been saying is the fact that the disassembly of today's family it's become more commonplace. It's become also like a rite of passage for some reason. I don't think enough attention is paid to what really is happening, to the emotional status of the families and the different members, the husband, the wife, the children, and Families in Transition gives those people a voice.
It's like I always say at the end of the show, you can't really get this information on your own, because where would you go to look to see how can I evaluate the institution of family over time? Where do you dial in for that? If you wanted to spend a lot of time on the internet, you'd have an awful lot of input that you might not be able to put it together. We do that for you, right? Don't you think that's one of the things we do?
Sure, I would agree.
Yeah. What would you say are, in a roundabout way, the causes and trends that are creating the need for us to do the show? I mean, I realize it's a lengthy program in and of itself, but what's causing all this?
There is clearly a lack of respect in today's world. We have got to a point that we don't have dinner together as a family.
Yep.
We have got to a point where it's two, a husband and wife working, having a nanny, having nobody look after the children.
So when you mean respect, you're also talking about the fair, I can't think of the word at the moment, a fair value estimate of what a family is.
Exactly.
The knowledge isn't there anymore.
That's right. We've lost it. We've lost it, and as we've lost that family value, and now we've lost respect.
Yeah.
So now what's happening? So this unrespectful way is now moving into our courtrooms.
Right.
And there are people out there that know that. People who are well educated, people that are smart and who can take advantage of that, feed off that, and make money on it.
And that's what we try to expose. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that is what they do. If we were to say, and I'm really just throwing this out as I really haven't assessed how I would consider it my goal, but one of my goals is to stabilize family, which is spinning off of what you said. Okay, think about the loss of respect. You used that word in the beginning. It's pretty much how I would chime in with you, the family value issue. We know the kids are not developing properly now. The world and the institution of those institutions that are looking upon the institution of family know that there's big problems. You see the headlines everywhere. Family breaking down, losing money, families unable to keep up, families. But nobody knows or applies what they know to help fix it. So we're trying to do that in a way, would you say?
Absolutely.
I mean, all the shows you've seen us do and you've helped create these shows, give me plenty of ideas on your own. Don't you think that's so?
I think the only people that get I think that the system is making too much money
To stop.
to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, it's 2 rents. Now it's separate households. It's separate insurances. There's double of everything now once a family is split in half. All right, now you've got more money going into the system.
And for them, they're saying double your pleasure.
Oh, double your pleasure, but it's double the expense, and it's for everybody. Lawyers on both sides making money. Forensic accountants making money.
Sure,
Psychologists making money. The judges making money. There's more money to be made by breaking up today's American family
Than by keeping it together. Yep.
than by keeping it together.
Right, and now that maybe you were thinking about this, maybe you weren't, but that might be a place where we might be able to go a little bit more effectively. The future to helping people get or stay together as an institution of family.
I don't know what it is about what I say. We complain so much about the cost of gas, but how many people shut off their car when they're waiting in line to get gas?
I guess a lot of people think there's a wear and tear in restarting the engine, maybe, or they won't get any heat at that time, or whatever.
But what it is, we know in our minds, we know what is the right thing to do for our children and for our families. Yet we're reluctant to push for it. And it's important, the information that Families in Transition brings is so important.
Yeah, so we shouldn't take what we do lightly. I don't take what I do lightly. And every time I talk to you about the show and give you guys information, and I'm looking for you guys to give it back to me. Thank God you do, because it isn't about my thought of what I already know. It's about what I see and what I can do about it based on what everybody's telling me. People are telling me, people are telling you, hey, I got problems at home. I can't pay my bills. My wife is giving me a headache. My husband just, is coming home late. Whatever the problem may be, they're telling us there's an institutional issue with family, and we need to do something about it. And that might be a goal we might think about, ahead of us, that we might want to, you know what I'm saying?
I agree. I think that's a very positive approach. We've done years and years of looking at the bad and trying
exposing the negative. Well, reality checks. We're doing reality checks.
There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, but why don't we start giving the help of starting to change what's happening, where people will go in and say, no, Mr. Lawyer, that's wrong. I don't want to do that to my husband. I don't want to do that to my wife.
Yeah,
these people, my wife, my husband, that's my wife's mom.
And they're not knowing.
They're not getting that.
No.
We've been conditioned we've been conditioned to listen to a lot of negativity from the media. Okay? That works on us. That works on us in our subconscious.
And it's the highlight film we're hearing. We're not hearing
there's no doubt about it.
We're only hearing the broader scope of things.
That's right. That's right. So we're, in essence, I'm going to use the word, brainwashed into being into a certain culture.
Right.
Where there's people that can take advantage of that. So if we can be above that as human beings and see that and say, why would we let somebody with a bankroll control how go far as say it, our minds? And people go, what are you talking about? Nobody controls my mind. Well, when you grow up from a small little child and you're being subjected to television and the media and it's all one-way directed, that has got to affect you in some way. That's the way the brain works.
Yeah, it's energy. It's negative. Yeah,
it's a negative energy.
Now,
exactly right.
That's something we can maybe put. So you know what? It takes a long time for people to transition out of where they are. Kind of think about what you just said in terms of where people are. Now you want to put them in a place going forward with the learning. Mm-hmm. Learning is a very awkward thing for some people, a very difficult thing for some, very easy for others. People see connecting tissue, so to speak, on what's going on in life, and other people don't. There's breaks. People have learning disabilities. So I can't address everyone. I have to look at what I can do to move legislation, to move change of the powers that be that are already there. What do you think we can do to help that move along? I mean, we think about what is our problem. One of them is law. It's just in the way. The family law is kind of a misnomer to me by itself. How do you, like my motto, divorce is about relationships, and relationships cannot be adjudicated. How do you do that? You can't do that. Well, somebody had a brilliant idea, didn't they? And they said, let's make money off of these guys. So they made a whole bunch of laws for family, for your family. Go ahead. You got a family, have somebody place that law upon you, and then it's your family. You create the law.
And you're right. And you know, I'm starting to see, I've sat in a courtroom recently and to watch, and there was one judge that I wanted to stand up and applaud, really wanted to. He's in Nassau County, he's in Mineola, and I was amazed that, seeing all the negativity coming from the show and then going in and sitting was an interesting concept for me, seeing what's really out there. There was a case where there was pro se against the wife and attorney. The judge got really sick of what he was hearing. And he made a comment, and the comment was, why would you let a perfect stranger decide the fate of your children?
Right.
Why would you let that happen?
Right. And yet there they are.
And yet there they are, letting that happen. He says, my responsibility is to make the decision, but why would you want a perfect stranger to do that? So what that means to me is that our message, is getting through. It's starting to get through.
Right.
And the younger
the
judges,
energy of the worldview. The energy of the worldview.
It's starting to get to the,
That's right.
starting to realize that, this is wrong.
I believe it. I believe that we're doing the right thing from the beginning.
So there are judges out there who absolutely firmly believe in what we're doing. But it's their job to make the decision if the people in front of them can't.
Every now and then we hear from an outsider, a lawyer, who knows that the judge has seen our program, for instance, and this has happened many times to me in the past, where they said, it seems controversial to a lot of lawyers, but to some judges and to some lawyers, they get it. They get it completely. They don't really want us to be successful, kind of like a double-edged sword, right? If they're successful, I'll stop. Because I'm going to stop them from making money when you think about it. On your backs. On the both of your backs and your family. I'm hoping that I can slow that process down to the point where, we got that under control. We don't need to give our money away to somebody who make the decision for me that I could have made myself.
But they're driving these people who have certainly, at this point in their relationship, have a total lack of respect for each other, and they feed on it.
Right.
And they force a judge, even a judge like I mentioned, will force a judge into a decision which he thinks is why should he be even making this decision?
I can't tell you how many people.
Incredible.
Yeah, some people think that intelligence should override or should be the governing power on ability to make decisions, but it's usually emotions. And when you get into court and you're robbed of your reality, emotions take over.
Absolutely.
Well, they always talk about in the past how when there's an accident, all of a sudden a lawyer shows up and hands you their card. They call them ambulance chasers.
Yeah.
But how much more of an example do you need when somebody is emotionally crippled by the fact that their relationship is falling apart, and then the attorney is right there as well with their card? It's the same thing.
That's right.
They're ambulance chasers.
That's right.
All right? They're feeding off of of the fact that you've been injured emotionally, your relationship is injured emotionally, your family is being torn apart, and here they are with their business card saying,
Yep.
I can get you the house.
That's right.
Or I can get you this much, or I can get you that much.
But don't say anything in court. When we get to court, don't say anything. Don't speak for yourself.
Keep your mouth
I'll do
shut.
all the talking. Keep your mouth
I
shut.
think some of the best shows that you've done, Chris, focus in on the mediation concept. And there are states where mediation is mandatory. And I think that that cool down period, like they have in Florida, that you've mentioned
Right.
on some of the shows, I think that's essential. I think that's essential to let people cool down emotionally so then they can be in the right frame of mind to make a decision that has to do with the future of their children and their family.
Yeah.
And like John said, not let a total stranger
Yeah.
have to be the one to come in and wield that sword.
Yeah. Look at. Why do we instinctively draw swords to do battle when we know that we have a minor emotional issue that could cause us? Why do we have to go right for the sword and hire a lawyer?
We're conditioned that way. This is what I said before.
Yeah.
And I really believe we are. And it's something that we can break as humanity. And I'm not just talking in the United States. I'm talking globally.
Well, we are.
I'm talking globally.
Yeah, but what you guys talk about now and what we're doing is breaking that trend.
Oh, there's no doubt.
I mean, we're driving an energy force forward.
But I think what we've got to do for future shows
Yeah.
is to get
I'm taking notes.
Yep. Get into their heads before they even get to this position.
How we do that?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's put it this way. There's pre-cana, there's a number of things that happen before you get married, okay? Maybe when we're signing the contract, which is a marriage license that allows a particular state to get involved in your personal affairs, if you do choose to break this contract, believe me, let's take my example. I wanted to get married. I loved it. I was ready to sign. I didn't care what I was signing.
Sure.
I didn't even read what I was signing.
Because love reigned. It was your
Emotions
emotion.
My
There you go.
emotions
There you
took
go. You
over.
chimed in on it.
My emotions take over. I'm signing this thing. I want to get married. And now years go by at this particular meeting, or we should have courses that say, hey, life doesn't necessarily take you down this road.
Do you remember the show that we did called The Moments Before Divorce? Right? That's where I was heading with that. Now, I may not, and this is why it's an art form here. We're doing an art form. And if we can create this art form to have it answer that situation, we're done. I mean, because that is it. That is where the goal has to be. It has to be about rescuing somebody before they commit harry-carry, by calling a lawyer or never mind the lawyer, by divorcing. If we can keep people from divorcing.
Sure.
So that would accomplish both things, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Accomplish both
And I
things.
think that's where we should start going. Because, we're starting, like we agree, we're starting to get this battle under control.
Right.
We have not won the war.
No, right.
There's a lot more to do.
There's a lot more FITTV programming ahead of us.
And I think we should start moving back and saying, how do we prevent this from even starting?
Yeah, in the production phase, it'll be a little bit too difficult for us to handle that in this particular show we're doing now.
Oh, without a
But
doubt.
some ideas might be, does anything come to your mind? Like you said, pre-Cana, right? That's, I think, an idea. What else might we do in that regard? How about education in the school system to mediate, I'm thinking ahead, but mediate their issues, maybe even for teachers in the, maybe even curriculum, that might be too much, but in health education, for instance. We probably could do it in the health education area.
Well, I've seen that in some school districts, they have course of study in life skills. And part of that curriculum could be mediation.
Right. Mediation is about people, so that people know, and maybe that'll help them understand what you're trying to say here, is that it's mostly about listening effectively to the place where your empathetic quality from within you becomes chimeable, or I can't think of the word. It becomes a mechanical connection, all right, of language and of feeling and emotion, and of understanding and reason. And it's a very difficult thing to do. Mediators will tell you sometimes you go through 4 sessions and you never get there, because you have to see that the couple is making this connection I'm talking about. And sometimes it happens almost immediately. So you don't know. You're not in charge as a mediator. You sit back. And what this will do, this teaching element, you're talking about in the schools, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a good place to begin to learn to teach people how to listen.
Well, I think that what we've got going on is a widespread addiction or acceptance of chaos. If you look at the family lifestyle now, even the families that are still together, it's chaos. There's so much going on. That it was nice to see that commercial on TV the other day about getting families to finally sit down and have dinner together. And you mentioned it earlier. And that lives have become so chaotic.
Yeah, it's fast.
That we instill chaos into our children. They carry it forward into their adult lives.
And now they have all this texting and
okay,
quick
now
quick
everything
information.
gets to be too much. It's too chaotic. I want out of this relationship, or I'm going to step outside of this relationship.
Yeah.
And
it might be
we're
that
not teaching our youth to, one, mediate their problems, two, how to deal with chaos and make things easier for
right,
themselves.
which mediation does too, helps people deal with
It's
chaos.
interesting that we had television shows here that did not deal with mediation, but always came back to family values and why things are happening and why there's people that have power, money, want to see us a certain way. Power. We had not too long ago. We had a show on. It was fantastic about what's happening with the banking system.
Oh yeah.
And how that actually affects everybody.
Sure.
And how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer and the middle class is gone. Okay. It seems to all work and be related into itself. Well, we're talking about the loss of values. Okay. Let's separate mom and dad. Let's get the kids out of the way. Let's break down that value.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Bingo.
Yeah.
And it's all related. And when we get to see that bigger picture, and we could teach our viewers that picture,
Yeah, this.
I think we're going to have,
Right, but this energy, you're talking about a future energy implication here, and what,
which is very positive, by the way.
well, it's solution based. That's what
Yes.
mediators will say. This is a solution based thought process you're working with right now, which could probably advance more than just the people who are watching the show, had we be able to get this out broader. So the language we're using now on this particular program could be, for instance, when it's labeled out on the DVD, when our boys get together, George, and you get to sit down and look at this stuff and put it together, you may very well find that some of the language has not been discussed, has not been heard. And so we need to keep this conversation going. And theoretically, if that does work, we'll have more programs that are like this one, because nobody's talking about the energy of the world and its
right.
motion.
That's right.
You're seeing so much negativity in the
right.
news lately, right? I mean, about all the things that are wrong. Where's the answers to things? Where are the solutions?
Where's the
solutions?
right in it? There is right. There is goodness. There is.
Yeah, well, this
We're
right.
not- you know what? We're not reporting on it.
That's
Not
right.
us.
Yeah.
The media's not reporting on it.
Yeah, right.
Then it's really nice to see a good story come on television.
You notice how many lawyers, by the way, are on TV now? I mean, every
Yeah.
damn talk show host you can think of has a legal background. Their background is it's not controversial, it's adversarial. And that's how we're fighting within this system. We're trying to stop the adversarial system from taking us over to think we have to contest every issue we have, right? I mean, if we didn't have to contest them, wouldn't we be heading towards resolution?
Absolutely.
And then they're telling you, no, this is the way we do it.
And then now let's
And locking it down,
Let's
and that's
take
how
the
it
bigger
is.
picture. Let's go back now. Let's go back and educate them that there's banks that fund countries, opposite countries.
Right.
And war. I'm going to fund this country. I'm going to fund that country. I'm going to watch that war, and I'm going to make money.
Right.
And that happens, and we know it.
And that's what's in a smaller scale. The institution of family is kind of acting in the same way.
That's
When you
right.
have somebody funding both sides of an equation, the people in the middle are falling through the cracks.
That's right. And what happens? They make money.
Yep. Well, we know we can starve the courts. This is the term I use to stop them from making money off of us. Would be a plan of action, I think. And I think mediation does that. I think it certainly does stop the money from going all in that one direction. It kind of slows it down. Now, how much money mediators making? Okay, not 1/10 that's possible in the legal system. So are we making money off of it? Are we part of this problem? I mean, I thought about that many times. I can't do it for free. I mean, some people have to make money. So
You mean all this work that we're doing as for charity you're talking about?
Yeah,
At this
right,
point?
yeah.
It would be good if somebody picked us up and say, you know what, this is good programming.
Right.
And say, you know, let's fund these guys, let's pay these guys, let's have these guys eat.
Right.
Because they're doing a good thing. It would be very
Sure.
interesting to
You
see
know
that
what
come
we're
about.
doing now? This is a smaller. I almost hate to say these words, but it's a very similar discussion as to The View. They get a topic, they beat it up, and they talk about all the peripheral issues that are around it. This is the kind of programming that audiences will enjoy.
Oh,
So
with the
this.
with the positive reinforcement?
Well,
All that?
But you
Without a doubt.
guys, I can't talk about this with the average person who's in court because they don't see the bigger picture. You guys have now, right? I
Right.
believe
Oh,
you've
yeah.
seen, you see the bigger picture.
They're too close to the emotion.
That's
It's-
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
They're too close to the situation. But
Yeah.
at some point, they'll. I think at some point, society will strive for some calmness,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of serenity, and maybe they'll go. You know what? Having a family, just relax and be peaceful
And work
with each
together.
other
And
and
work
working with
learn
each
how to
other
work together.
is probably
Would be amazing.
better than all the chaos that we've been fed.
We got a minute and a half left, but I'll hurry up to answer this last one. This is not really a question, it's more or less a statement, but I want your reaction to it. I'd like you to remember that in the spirit of change is where we make our mark. Letting things stay exactly the same, is that something we really do? No, we're trying to move the world. So what do we do with that? We want to make change happen. So isn't that what we're doing? I mean, isn't that what we're effectively doing?
Well, that's exactly what we want to do. But and that's got to come from education, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
So how do we get this show out to the many people? That's something I'm interested in looking into, and we have.
Yeah.
How do we really do that to get this information out on a large scale? That's what I'd be very interested in.
Final comment, George.
Well, in the song that I wrote for this show,
Oh, yeah.
what you don't change is going to change you.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right?
Yeah.
So who are you going to let drive?
Yeah.
That's right.
All right?
The spirit of change. Thank you, John Cohan and George Gleixner. I appreciate that, and thank you for all the work that you've done for FITTV.
Thank
It's
you.
amazing. This was a great thing. We may do this again.
Can I just want to say something?
You got-
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Societal and political trends are rapidly breaking down the family that once was the cornerstone of our great American culture. At FIT, we know you cannot get this information on your own, so we bring it to your TV every single week, right? We're going to continue to do this until they get it right. We always invite all opposing views, and apparently we must be right all the time. We don't get all that many opposing views. My name is Chris DiMaggio. Thank you for watching FIT TV, and George and John, we'll see you again next week.